Germany's highest constitutional court has ruled against a group of lawyers and economists who had questioned the legality of the country's involvement in Eurozone bailout packages. Any ruling in favour of the challenge could have caused a crisis in Europe, with Germany's backing crucial to the success of the EFSF. However, the court in Karlsruhe have ruled that any further assistance from Germany would need the approval of the Bundestag, which could weaken the already criticised fund. I'm now joined by Dr. Dieter Spethmann, one of the group who brought the challenge, in his first interview since the ruling was announced. Thank you very much for talking to Dukascopy TV, Dr. Spethmann. The court ruled that the bailout was not illegal, but that Parliament must have a say in the future. Does that satisfy your concerns?
Well, my understanding of the ruling is that there is no legal reason for the court to accept my complaint. So it is a purely legal decision. If you extrapolate the ruling of the court, then the euro system may go broke tomorrow, and this court will hold that it was all within the law.
Critics have argued that this was just a legal challenge from a group of Eurosceptics who want to see the end of the euro in Germany. Is that a fair criticism, and where do you go from here?
That is an unfair criticism. We are pro-European. I have published books for more than 8 years. I have my own internet page, Eurospecimen, and my message is always the same. I'm pro-European. I'm also willing to cooperate with the common currency, but I'm not willing to do it with this euro, because this euro is a currency system that weakens the majority of participants, both in the number of states, countries, economies, and in the number of citizens concerned. And we will see what government decides, what parliament decides. I reserve all rights to reconsider and then to take a decision to launch another complaint or not.
To discuss today's developments further, I'm now joined from Brussels by the Director of the European Centre for International Political Economy, Fredrik Eriksson. Fredrik, the court have averted a crisis today, but with some arguing the EFSF is already too slow and too small, could the ruling that the Parliamentary Budget Committee must have a say in the future make the fund even less effective?
Oh yes, indeed. I mean, we are clearly and inevitably moving in a direction where it's going to become politically much more complicated for Eurozone leaders to swiftly react to market turmoil or to other events that need responses from political leaders. And I think this is a big problem for the Eurozone, because the construct now is basically that we assume that political leaders, and especially the key leaders in Europe, will have the discretion, flexibility, and the ability to act swiftly when it's needed in order to stem the tide of a crisis or stem the tide of strong market suspicions against, for instance, Italy or Spain. The ruling right now just confirms what the German court has said before, and that's there have to be much greater participation, much greater involvement from the German parliament in future in order to secure democratic control. And that adds to other sort of complications that we have been seeing quite recently, like, for instance, Finland's demand to have collateral in any sort of new bailout packages that will be negotiated with the EFSF.
The judges did say today that the ruling in this case was very tight. Is public opinion in Germany turning? And looking forward, do you see any big-scale changes to the Eurozone membership?
I don't think that the German opinion has changed. I mean, if you were going to have a referendum in Germany in the late 1990s, if Germany wanted to ditch the D-mark and opt for the euro, the German people would have voted no. So I don't think there has been that many changes in Germany. What we're seeing right now is a German electorate and a German establishment which is increasingly anxious about its own ability to do something about the crises. And for the past year, for the past 18 months, what we've seen from the German leadership is basically half-hearted attempts to organize half solutions to problem. The German government right now, and in the past 18 months, they've been asking the German population to stamp up the cash needed for guaranteeing EFSF-based bailouts, at the same time as they have signaled great hesitancy in thinking that this really is going to solve any problem. And I think it would be good for some countries to leave the Eurozone, at least for a while. I don't think it's possible. The UBS released a report yesterday which was trying to put a figure on the cost for Greece and Portugal and other weak economies to leave the Eurozone, it puts the cost at 40 to 50% of GDP. I don't think it would be possible. I mean, the consequences would be too dire, not only for these economies themselves, but for the rest of the Eurozone too. So I think there's a strong determination on the part of everyone.
Thanks very much to both of my guests. There'll be more exclusive interviews this week on Dukascopy TV. Goodbye.